Hi there, welcome to this video of Introduction to Azure Web App. If you are interested in learning about Power Platform, Microsoft 365, Microsoft Azure, then please subscribe to our channel. Now in this video today, we are going to learn about these different areas. So first of all, we are actually going to learn about the Introduction to Web App. Thereafter, we'll learn about Introduction to App Service Plan. And then I'll give you two simple demonstrations as to how you can create a web app using Azure portal, and then how you can deploy a simple .NET Core web application to the Azure web app. Okay. So what is a web app? Now web app is a platform as a service available under Azure that allows you to quickly create and publish your web application within Azure. Now, there's no hard and fast rule that you need to do the development using ASP.NET or Microsoft Stack. You're free to go ahead and choose among several languages that Azure Web App supports. You can do development using Java, Python, Ruby on Rails, Node.js, whatever is your preferred choice of language. Okay. Web App provides a quick and easy scalable hosting option for web application that has been developed using various languages. So here you can see this that there are list of key features what web app supports Azure web app. So to begin with, you have got the flexibility to scale up and scale down your web application based on the load that your application is going to get from the end users, or through the end calls whatever is going to be made onto the web app. Okay, and thereafter there is an excellent DevOps optimization or DevOps integration that is available for the web app. You can have an excellent continuous integration and deployment that you can actually configure with various DevOps tools beginning with Azure DevOps, Visual Studio, Team Services, GitHub, Bitbucket, Docker Hub, or Azure Container Registry for the web app. Then you have got the flexibility to, with the help of web app, you can connect to a large number of SaaS platforms. So SaaS platforms, as you understand, it's a software as a service platform. So you can connect to different enterprise systems such as SAP, or you have got Salesforce, or there are a lot of other internet-based services that you can easily connect to. If required, you can also connect to on-premises data. So there are several scenarios when we have this common ask from the customers asking that no, okay, we have some of the databases sitting in our corporate network, and what we want to do is that we should be able to connect to those data directly from your web app. So what you can do is that by simply installing either your a simple gateway or through the virtual network setup, what you can do is that you can connect your web app to the on-premises data source that is sitting within your corporate network. In the next step, you also have got several application templates which are readily available in Azure Marketplace. Such as you have got Joomla, Drupal, WordPress that you can actually use to create a web app directly inside Azure. We have also got excellent support for APIs and mobile features if you are looking to host it inside web app. So we have got turnkey cross-origin resource sharing option that is supported for RESTful APIs scenarios within web app. You can enable authentication with Azure Active Directory or other identity providers that you are intending to use. You can also use serverless code. So we have got support within Azure Web App to run code on demand without having to explicitly provision or manage infrastructure. Okay. So now in the next step, I'm going to show you a simple demo as to how you can create a web app using Azure portal. So I'll switch over to Azure portal. So this is Azure portal. and here in this Azure portal, what I want to do is that I want to create a web app. So I can choose app services and create a new app service. Within this app service, so here you see this that I have a valid subscription. So you should always know this thing that you need to have a valid subscription whenever you are looking to create any resource here within Azure. And Azure follows typical like Azure Resource Manager based APIs to provision your resources. Okay, so here in this case you need to have subscription, and under this right now I don't have any resource group. You can watch out my other videos to understand the overall hierarchy of Azure, what is subscription, what is resource group, and how exactly you can go on organizing your resources inside resource group. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a new resource group over here, and I'm going to call this simply like RG web app demo. Okay, and then I'm going to give this name as web app Contoso, and I'll give today's date to make it unique. Now here you see this that while creating a web app, it is giving us two different options, that either you want to do a code-based deployment, or you want to use, if at all like you already have a container image, then you can actually use a Docker container to whatever like image that you actually want to run here inside the web app. For the time being, I'm going to use the code option, but in the upcoming videos I'll again show you that how you can actually publish your Docker related container images over onto the Azure Container Registry, and from there you can run it inside a web app. Okay, so in terms of runtime stack, here you see this that there's a long list of various languages that are supported over here. So as I already mentioned, that there are various languages what web app supports in terms of runtime. So here I'm going to choose .NET Core, and then which is the operating system that you want to use. I'll keep it as Windows as I have selected .NET Core, but again if you're using Java, Node.js, PHP, at that time you would prefer to use Linux as the operating system. In the region, I'm going to choose Central India, and then here you will see this that this is an app service plan. Now we'll discuss about app service plan after this demo, that what exactly is this app service plan and why it is important to understand app service plan when we are actually working with web app. Okay, so here you will see this that this is a simple the default software keeping unit SKU that has been selected, though you are free to go ahead and change this size. So as here you can see this that there are different set of categories of SKUs and size what Azure is providing within your web app. So you can choose one of these based on what exactly what are the features that you're actually looking for. Okay, so here you see this that this has been categorized into three different categories: dev and testing purpose, then production, and isolated. So within dev test, you will find out that we have got some very basic plan. We have got free plan, shared, and basic plan, and then when you choose one of these plans, it will highlight what are the different features and what is the underlying hardware that you're actually going to get as part of this particular plan. It will also show you that what is the cost, what is the overall burn rate on a monthly basis that you need to actually pay as part of this plan. Now please understand, this is an estimated value. This price can go higher based on other factors what is the total data in, data out, and several other factors based on which it can get impacted. But again this is just an estimation, and the cost will always be very much similar to what has been estimated. Okay, and then these are some of the production categories. So here this is a standard pricing tier that has been selected, and in this one you will see that these are the list of features that has been added, and there's a set of hardware that has been included over here. Azure Compute Unit is just a computation unit, how you have got a simple database transaction unit that you usually use for measuring the the cost of a database query. Similar to that, ACU is just to calculate that what is the overall performance in terms of hardware that you're actually going to get. And you also see this that as part of a standard pricing tier, it also gives you the flexibility to use your own custom domain. You want to customize the default domain, you want to configure auto scaling, you can have a lot of several staging slots as a pre-production deployment option that you can use within a web app. Okay, and you can configure daily backups if you're looking to create multiple web app instances across the geographies, across different regions. At that time, we can use Azure Traffic Manager for DNS level load balancing. So here I'm going to select this, and then in terms of deployment, here it is asking us that do you want to configure continuous deployment. I'll skip it for the time being. For monitoring part, you can enable application insight. Application insight is a separate platform as a service that Microsoft is providing. Once again, for application performance management, you can compare it to something like Google Analytics. So it works independently. You just need to configure the correct endpoint. So here for the time being, I'll keep it as no. I don't want to use any tags as of now. Tags are usually helpful in terms of you want to do some sort of labeling across your resources. So tags is always helpful. So I'm going to create this. Okay, so let me click on create. Now before I click on create, I would like to highlight this section, download a template for automation. Please understand that whenever you create any resource, at that time what Azure does is that Azure gives you the corresponding ARM template, or we call it as Azure Resource Manager template, which is nothing but just a collection of JSON files that can be used to do the automation of your resource creation. Instead of going and using PowerShell scripting or Azure command line interface, you can download the ARM template, do the customizations of the parameters, and thereafter you can easily create a reusable template to do this. Okay, so I'm going to create this web app over here. This will take a while. So here you can see that our web app has got successfully created. If you want, you can see the entire deployment details in Azure. Whenever you initiate any deployment, you can see the step-by-step breakdown of overall deployment, what are the different steps, and thereafter if at all there's an error that has come up on any step, you can go ahead and look into the operation details. Okay, so here I'm going to connect to my web app. So my web app is up and running. You can see here at the top in this essential toolbar, I can navigate to my web app directly from here. Okay, so you see this that now my web app is up and running, but currently there is no application that has been deployed to this web app. So this is why it is coming as blank. Okay, now once the web app has been created, it is important to understand that what exactly is an app service plan and how we can use app service plan to how it is actually related with a web app. Okay, so here you can see this that app service plan is used to group several web apps together. Now what does it mean? It means that you can consider it as a common hosting option, based on what is the plan that you are actually selecting. Right now I have selected a standard pricing tier. So within a standard pricing tier, what happens is that it creates a PaaS virtual machine. It's a platform as a service virtual machine that Azure is going to create, and thereafter assign all the required resources onto that particular PaaS VM. And thereafter Azure does not stop you from hosting as many web app as you want within this particular PaaS VM. Okay, so app service plan, the cost is always associated with your app service plan. It is never on the directly on the web app when you're choosing the standard pricing tier. Okay, so you can go on hosting multiple web apps. So imagine if you take example of Contoso Corporation. Within Contoso Corporation, we may have several department sites that has been created, and each of this department site is being hosted in the same app service plan. We can have a budget associated with the app service plan, and then what you do is that you can keep a track of your cost by placing all your web app within the same app service plan. So how is the overall relationship? So you can have a subscription. Within a subscription you can have multiple resource group, and thereafter a single app service plan. As you can see, you can have multiple app service plan within a single resource group, and thereafter each of the app service plan can go on hosting multiple web apps within itself. Okay, now moving on to the next demo, that is how you can deploy a simple .NET Core web application to the Azure web app. Okay, so here I'll switch over to my Visual Studio. Now here I'm using Visual Studio to create a simple like ASP.NET Core web application and then deploy it onto the Azure web app. But you are free to go ahead and use Visual Studio Code, or if you want to use like publish a Java application from Eclipse or some other like integrated development environment, you can go ahead and do it. Okay, so here I'm going to create a new application. So I choose project and then I select ASP.NET Core web app. I'll give this name as once again like Contoso 2821. This is the name that I'm giving on to my project, and thereafter I'll create this .NET Core 3.1. I'm not choosing any authentication type right now over here. Once you publish your web application onto the Azure web app, you're free to go ahead and a web app gives you the option to enable authentication with Azure Active Directory or like any other identity provider, supported identity provider that you would like to use. Okay, so here this will take a while to create a simple like application. I'm not going to make any changes to this application. The purpose here is just to understand that how you can actually go ahead and publish this application directly onto the web app. Okay, Azure web app. So over here, one option is that I can connect to my Microsoft Azure account. So here you see this that this application, once it has been created, I'm getting a direct option to publish this. For this you need to have Azure SDK component installed on top of Visual Studio. Okay, so that is something which is like now in Visual Studio 2019 you can choose that specific feature and then you can install this. Now you'll find out over here that there are various options that are coming up for publishing this application onto Azure. How these are the different destinations or target that you can actually use, and thereafter I'm going to publish it to Azure. But here you see this that out of these different options, I want to use a simple like publishing profile. Okay, so instead of giving my credentials and thereafter connecting onto the Azure account, what we can do is that we can download a simple like publishing profile corresponding to my web app, and thereafter I can push or publish my web application from my local machine onto the Azure web app. So how we are actually going to get the publishing profile? You connect to your web app. Here at the top you can see this that there is a get published profile. So I'm going to download this. This is a simple like publishing profile. If I open this publishing profile, okay, so I can open this and show you that what exactly it contains. Okay, so I can open this over here and you will see this that this has got all the required metadata associated with your web application. What is the publishing method that it's actually going to use? What is the endpoint to which it's actually going to do the publishing? Everything. And then there's a encrypted user password that has been mentioned over here along with destination app URL and all other sort of information. Okay, now once this is done, thereafter what I need to do is that I can simply import the profile over here. So I can browse and choose this publishing profile, and over here you can see this that if you intend to change any of these configurations, you want to customize this, you can go ahead and pick it up from over here, and then you can publish this. So I can publish this directly from here. So what it does is that, as you understand, that it uses ms deploy to deploy this particular code. Okay, this might take a while. It will build the entire package, and thereafter you see here that it will publish this. Now it has very quickly published my code onto the Azure web app. Now here you can see this, that this is the web app that just now I have created, and in a very simple step what we have done is that we have published a very simple ASP.NET Core application directly to my web app. Okay, I can go back to the same window, and from here also I can open this, just to ensure that this is something which has been published appropriately to this particular web app. Okay, so you see here that how easily you can actually go ahead and deploy a .NET Core application, or for that matter even if you have used other language based application, with a simple button click you can publish it onto the Azure web app. Okay, thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please subscribe to our channel. If you have any queries related to Azure, or you're looking for any training or courses on Microsoft Azure, then please drop us an email at learning@flexmind.co. Thank you.